are gathered up, which they're allowed to do in a parking lot somewhere in the city, and they're perfectly legal. They're abiding by all the traffic laws and noise ordinances. And for those types of situations, we allow those things to happen. However, for the ones that do become reckless and dangerous, we address those immediately as they're brought to our attention, and we intend to keep doing that. 5 of our 13 patrol divisions have been particularly affected by this: North Division, University City Division, Freedom Division, Westover Division, and the Still Creek Division. We want you to know that we are very much aware of this public safety concern. We shared the public's concern with this problem, and we have been and will continue to diligently work on this. We've had a specific focus on this problem since October of 2020. We've partnered with some of our other neighboring agencies in this problem. So along with our transportation division and our own patrol officers, we've collaborated with the State Highway Patrol, with the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, with the Huntersville Police Department, and we certainly thank and appreciate the help that we get from our neighboring agencies and our partnering agencies in addressing this situation. We have had some success in addressing these types of issues. In October, we began receiving specific complaints related to the Prosperity Church Road 485 area in regards to loud mufflers and reckless driving. We immediately started a traffic enforcement campaign there that continues up into this day, and the results of that have been over 2,000 traffic stops since October. Over 3,000 total traffic violations have been charged since October, and like I said, those operations continue, and we've seen a dramatic decrease in speeds, average speeds, and reckless driving in that specific part of town. So we're pleased to report that. Another success that we can report in December, this past December, we were able to successfully disrupt a plan by some of these motorists to block an interstate here in town. We were able to successfully thwart that by bringing in extra resources and utilizing our CMPD helicopter to thwart a plan by hundreds of these motorists to gather in the North Lake Mall area and block an interstate for the purposes of reckless driving and burnouts. There were numerous traffic stops made that night, multiple charges levied against drivers, including some gun charges. There were several guns seized and some drug charges even levied against drivers that night. So that was another success that we were able to have. We know that this is important because speed kills, reckless driving kills. So far this year, in 4 of our 10 local fatality accidents, speed has been a factor, a contributing factor in those fatality accidents. So we know that speed kills. On a statewide level, almost half of the fatalities in the state in 2019, either reckless driving or speeding was a contributing factor in those as well. So this is a serious issue. We take it seriously, and we are going to take enforcement action whenever the opportunity presents itself. Motorists that choose to participate in this type of activity can expect that we are going to take enforcement action upon them, and they are subject to not only criminal charges, but they are subject to vehicle seizure and possibly revocation of their driver's license. How can the community help? This is a community-wide problem. It takes place in every corner of this jurisdiction. So we need the community to be our eyes and ears to alert us as to when they see this type of activity taking place. So what we ask is that if you see this type of reckless activity, high speeds, reckless driving, burnouts, blocking roads or interstates to try to facilitate this, we ask that you call 911 and provide as much information as you possibly can. Vehicle descriptions, tags, if you can get them, driver descriptions, if you can provide them. We have the ability to respond quickly to these situations, but only if we're alerted to these situations as they're happening. Once the event is over and we get an email later, or we get notified sometimes after the fact. The event is gone and those participants are gone, and it's hard to track them down after the fact. So again, 911, vehicle descriptions. You can also remain anonymous through our Crime Stoppers tip line. That's 704-334-1600. We would encourage you to use that if you have specific information that you want to provide on an anonymous basis. So thank you for your attention in this matter. Right now, I'm going to turn the podium over to Trooper Pierce, who is one of our partners from the State Highway Patrol in addressing this specific issue.
Good morning. Thank you, Major Johnson. I knew I should have went first because you stole a lot of my talking points, but I greatly appreciate it. First off, let me say we greatly appreciate the partnership that we have formed with CMPD. Without the spearheading that they have done, they have allocated resources, time, manpower in a way that unfortunately our agency could not put towards these incidents. Without their help, along with the help of the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, other local agencies, we honestly could not combat this problem as it has arisen. So we greatly appreciate that and could not do this alone, and can't say thank you enough. As Major Johnson stated, speed is and has been one of the major contributing factors in the majority of collisions that we do work in this area and across the state. As you stated, speed kills. That has been a contributing factor, major contributing factor in personal injury and fatality crashes that we have had in this state for many years. Unfortunately, in the last year to year and a half with COVID, with the possibility and the public has realized that there for a brief time, our agency was reducing our contacts as far as that goes. We were stopping less people for speeding, making less vehicle contacts in order to reduce our agency, the troopers' risk with coming into contact with the public. That got out rather quickly, and we feel like that, coupled with the fact of less vehicles on the roadway, we saw a large spike and increase in high speeds. In 2020, we started the SET team, which was a special enforcement team that our agency put together in order to combat these speeds. Once again, that was in a partnership with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, and other local agencies. Wrote several tickets, although as an agency, we don't try to ticket our way to compliance. We feel like you can't pound tickets. That isn't always the best thing. Just your mere presence to see blue lights out on the roadway. And we feel like that did make a difference. Now with this other issue that has arisen, we are trying to combat that as much as we can. And once again, thank you for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department for spearheading this and putting up the resources that we do not have as an agency. Once again, you are our best avenue to combat this. Typically, we've got about a little over 200 miles of interstate in Mecklenburg County. On an average day, we have 5 to 7 troopers working. You are our eyes and ears. Just like Major Johnson said, if you can get tag numbers, vehicle descriptions, directions of travel, something that can give that responding trooper a heads up of what he or she is looking for. That is what we need. We need your community involvement because these people are not only putting themselves at risk, but they're putting everyone else at risk that's on the roadway at that time. So the quicker we can get them off the roadway and get these instances shut down or off the roadway, that's not only helping us, it's helping the motoring public. If you do see someone driving careless and reckless, something that shouldn't be, just something that's out of the ordinary, if you're seeing vehicles starting to slow the lanes of travel down to possibly open up for, like an instance that happened on 77, see if you can take down tag numbers, write them down. A lot of times, just like this event that happened on 77 Friday night, we received several calls around that 11 o'clock hour, but failed to receive any that unfortunately gave us any viable information that we could possibly investigate further. Write down the tag numbers. that would help. That gives us an avenue to start an investigation to combat these. That's the main thing. Dial *47. We will get a trooper and route you as quickly as possible. Do not engage with these drivers. If you see someone driving careless and reckless, do not try to chase that vehicle. Safely get out of the way. If you're able to ascertain a tag number, do that vehicle description, color, make, model, things of that nature, and we will get a trooper there as quickly as possible. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Trooper Pierce. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department greatly appreciate. Don't go too far. We might get a question for you. We greatly appreciate the partnership that we've had, long-lasting partnership with the State Highway Patrol and all the work that they do in and around our jurisdiction. So thank you again. I think we do have time to take a few questions.
Hi there. You can hear me, right?
Go ahead, Ms. Harris.
Okay, thanks. So question is, why has this become an issue that you are speaking about now? Has it been an increase as of late, or what's prompting you guys to talk about this? Thanks.
So we really saw an increase in this type of activity kind of coincide with the COVID shutdown. We saw average speeds on the interstate increase. We saw an increase in speed-related crashes in the jurisdiction. And then really, since the fall, we've seen a disturbing increase in just really exorbitantly reckless activity, culminating in the type of activity that we saw last Friday night on 77. And I will add that we were able to thwart another attempt on the next night, on Saturday night, to do the same type of activity. We were able to thwart that and prevent them from shutting down the interstate. So when we get that information from the public, we're able to utilize that information and put it to work, get our officers the information they need to keep this type of activity from happening again.
And did you guys have videos of this incident?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Sorry, just a quick follow-up. I was wondering if you guys had a video of the incident you're referring to that with the traffic was shut down?
The Friday night incident?
Yes, sir.
There's video on social media, and I believe some of our local news partners have done stories on that and posted that video, but we can provide that to you if you need that.
Thanks.
Jamal?
Hey, good morning to everybody. Would you say that the shooting on I-85 this morning was, an example of aggressive driving, or, can you give us some more details on the shooting that happened this morning on I-85?
I don't have any details on that right now. I know that they are currently investigating that, and if any information develops on that, I'm sure we'll be able to put that out. Sarah, next question.
Thank you. Are there specific parts of the interstate that you guys think are more prone to this kind of activity? Just wondering if there are areas that these folks are kind of targeting as better locations to try and block off and that kind of thing.
We have literally seen this activity on every stretch of interstate within Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So 485 in particular. However, we've also seen it on 85 and 77, and also some local surface streets too. So anywhere where they can find a large open area where they think they can do this type of activity is susceptible to encountering this.
Thanks.
Courtney, WBTV.
Good morning. I know you all said you've seen a rise in this since the pandemic and again in the fall, but compared to previous years, is this the most that you've seen, or is it around the same amount?
This, like I said at the beginning, this is not a new phenomenon. We've seen this type of activity in the past. We've seen it with some of our ATV and dirt bike riders that ride recklessly through town. But what we particularly notice now is that they seem to be emboldened a little bit. Their activity is a little more brazen than before. But the focus is we want to be able to get ahead of that. And the way we accomplish that is through community involvement and community information. All right. I believe that's all the questions. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn the podium back over to Lieutenant Fishman.
Thank you, Major and Trooper. At this point, we're going to shift gears and get into our presentation from Lieutenant Hofert of the Robbery Unit. Lieutenant?
Thank you and good morning. As you said, I'm Lieutenant Brian Hofert with the Robbery Unit, and I just want to share a series that we're experiencing and just reach out to you all to see how we can get some help with this, reaching out to the community and sending out some photos. Since December of 2020, there have been 9 incidents within the CMPD jurisdiction involving jewelry store and pawn shop armed robberies and smash and grabs. These cases are all similar in nature, and they're being investigated as a group. During these incidents, 1, 2, sometimes 3 people come into these businesses and smash showcases and take money and jewelry and high value items that they can get their hands on quickly and easily. The businesses that have been victimized by this group have been, in no particular order, National Pawn Shops, Cash America Pawn Shops, Brownlee Jewelers, an attempt at Malak Jewelers, Smart Pawn and Jewelry, and National Pawn and Jewelry. A series of photographs will be sent out shortly via email to our local media partners for disbursement to the community. We are asking the community to contact Crime Stoppers, of course, at 704-334-1600 for any information on the persons in the photographs. Also, we're asking the community to contact Crime Stoppers with any information about anyone who is in possession of or trying to sell an unusual amount of jewelry. If people are noticing that someone has an unusual amount of jewelry or high value items on them that they're trying to get rid of, we ask that we are given those leads and given that information, and any help that we can get in bringing these criminals to justice would be greatly appreciated. At this time, I will take any questions. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so we heard it from the Major, Trooper, and Lieutenant. You are our eyes and ears out there in the community. We rely on the community to provide us with information that's going to help us solve these problems in our community. Again, Crime Stoppers, 704-334-1600. And while we're on the topic of Crime Stoppers and tips from the community, last night in the Eastway Patrol Division, our Eastway Division officers were following up on a tip that came in from the community about a suspicious vehicle. That led officers to making voluntary contact with the person in that vehicle, Mr. Danny White Jr., who is a convicted felon. Mr. White was armed at the time of that encounter, and he smashed into a patrol car with the vehicle he was in and was able to flee and get away. Luckily, all of our officers are safe, but as a result of that incident, Mr. White now has warrants for his arrest for firing by a convicted felon and carrying a concealed weapon, hit and run, and resisting an officer. We are going to push out photographs to our local media partners of Mr. White as we continue our search to apprehend him. I do want to emphasize, however, to the community and to our law enforcement partners in the region that Mr. White is likely armed and is willing to use very evasive and dangerous methods to evade law enforcement. So again, if you have information about Mr. White, 704-334-1600, help us take this person off the streets of your community. And in the month of January, Crime Stoppers received 339 tips from the community that led to 18 arrests, 69 cases cleared, and 8 guns being seized, 5 of those guns had been reported as stolen. That's a true testament to how the CMPD is collaborating with the community and that we are able to take that information coming in through Crime Stoppers, put it to work, some really good solid police work on the side of our investigators to make some really good efforts come to fruition in our community. Again, 704-334-1600. Be part of that crime fighting, that crime management effort. At this point, I'll open it up to our media partners for any general questions that you may have. Ms. Lana, good morning.
Good morning. So question on the incident that happened technically this morning overnight. Did you guys have any additional info you can give out? It kind of just seems very problematic that a person was seemingly just driving and shot at and now is, unfortunately died. Is that what happened? Did this person know the suspect or was this like a random victim? Do you know any information on that case?
Okay, and Lana's question is in reference to a shooting overnight on the interstate. And just to make sure I'm speaking on the right one, are you talking about the incident that took place on I-85?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point in time, our Freedom Division detectives have been working that case since those calls for service came in last night. And that is a very active, ongoing investigation. Our detectives have worked that throughout the night, and they're continuing to work it right now. At this point, we don't have any additional information to put out. What I can tell you is those investigators are going to work that case until they create some solid leads today. And then at the same time, we're relying on that information coming in from the community. 704-334-1600. Jamal, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. Just to follow up as well with another homicide that happened involving a teen where other people were sent to the hospital. Is there an update with that case as well where a teenager was shot over the weekend in the head?
Sure. And I have Captain Joel McNally of the homicide unit here, and he's going to provide you with some information regarding that. Captain?
Hi, good morning. What I can tell you at this time is that is still a very active investigation. I don't think it's any secret that there was quite a number of people at that scene. And so with that number of people, there's a tremendous amount of information for detectives to follow up on. I can tell you emphatically that they have been working a lot of hours since that happened to solve this crime. And there are quite a few active leads that they're pursuing at this time. However, we do not have any information about specific suspects or anything to share. However, when there are arrests, if there are arrests, we will be happy to share that information. Again, with this, we do need the public's help. Anyone who was at that party or anyone who knows anything since that party, we would appreciate a call at 704-334-1600. Or specifically for homicide, if you want to talk to a homicide detective, you can call 704-432-TIPS and speak to a homicide detective specifically.
Ms. Lana, go ahead.
Thank you. So on the incident you were just talking about with the Danny, right? So that is there an incident report that you all put out about that? It kind of sounds really traumatic. Were officers in the car when Danny allegedly smashed into them, or how did that work? How did he get away? Did it was a foot? Like what happened there?
And you're breaking up a little bit, Lana, so I'm going to just confirm. Lana's question is a lot going on with that incident that I was talking about from last night involving Mr. White. And her question was, were there officers in the patrol vehicle when it got smashed into? And I think your question was, how did Mr. White get away? Is that accurate, Lana?
Yes, thank you.
So no officers were in that patrol vehicle when it got smashed into by the suspect vehicle. At that point in time, officers no offenses had taken place that we were authorized to pursue for per our policy. Officers abided by that policy and did not pursue, as well as there were logistical issues with being unable to pursue due to the patrol car being smashed. Again, I emphasize this is a dangerous individual who has proven that he is not going to just comply with the police. This is someone that we need the community's help in apprehending. We appreciate the community's tip last night that led to officers interacting with this person, and we just need that cooperation, that collaboration from the community to continue so that we can get this person in custody. Okay. Thank everyone for joining us virtually this morning for our press conference. To our media partners, as always, if you have additional questions, we'll meet offline and get those answered for you. Thank you.